Good evening. As we move deeper into June 2026, meteorologists are closely monitoring tropical conditions across the Atlantic Basin, the Gulf of Mexico, and the Eastern Pacific for signs of early tropical cyclone development. June marks the official beginning of the Atlantic hurricane season, and while this is typically a quieter period compared to the peak months of August and September, atmospheric and oceanic conditions this year are becoming increasingly favorable for tropical development. Sea surface temperatures across large portions of the Gulf of Mexico, the Western Caribbean Sea, and parts of the Western Atlantic remain above seasonal averages, providing abundant energy for any developing tropical disturbance. At this time, no immediate hurricane threats are affecting the United States. However, several broad areas of unsettled weather are expected to persist across the Gulf of Mexico and the Western Atlantic over the coming days. These disturbances will be monitored carefully for signs of organization. While many early-season systems struggle against upper-level wind shear, even weak tropical disturbances can produce heavy rainfall, rough seas, dangerous rip currents, and localized flooding along coastal communities. The Gulf of Mexico remains one of the primary areas of concern during June. Warm ocean waters and frequent thunderstorm activity often provide the ingredients necessary for tropical depression formation. Meteorologists will be watching for any low-pressure systems that become detached from frontal boundaries and begin organizing over open water. Should atmospheric conditions become more favorable, tropical development could occur with relatively short notice. In the Western Caribbean Sea, another region historically known for early-season activity, environmental conditions may gradually improve during the second half of June. Any tropical wave entering this region could encounter very warm water temperatures and sufficient moisture to support development. While confidence remains low regarding any specific storm formation, the overall environment deserves close attention. In the Western Atlantic, particularly east of Florida and near the Bahamas, periodic areas of disturbed weather may emerge along stalled frontal boundaries. Although strong upper-level winds may limit rapid development, these systems can occasionally acquire tropical characteristics if they remain over warm ocean waters for several days. Meanwhile, the Eastern Pacific hurricane season has already become active, and additional tropical cyclones may form south and southwest of Mexico during the coming weeks. While most Eastern Pacific storms remain offshore, some systems can influence marine conditions along the west coast through increased swells, dangerous surf, and strong rip currents. Current long-range outlooks suggest that tropical cyclone activity during June 2026 could be near to slightly above average due to unusually warm ocean temperatures and favorable large-scale atmospheric patterns. However, forecasting exact storm formation locations more than several days in advance remains highly uncertain. For residents along the Gulf Coast, Southeast Coast, and Atlantic seaboard, now is an excellent time to review hurricane preparedness plans before the heart of the season arrives. Boaters, commercial shipping operators, offshore energy interests, and fishing fleets should closely monitor tropical outlooks issued by weather agencies, especially when operating in the Gulf of Mexico and Western Atlantic waters. While no significant tropical cyclone is currently threatening the United States, the atmosphere and oceans are showing increasing signs that the first named storms of the season could develop at any time during the remainder of June. As always, early awareness and preparation remain the best defense against tropical weather hazards. This is your tropical weather outlook for June 2026. Stay informed, stay prepared, and continue following Hurricane and Storm Center for the latest updates throughout the hurricane season. A highly active marine weather pattern continues across several major coastal regions of the United States tonight and through Saturday. Mariners, commercial shipping operators, offshore energy platforms, and fishing fleets should remain alert as multiple areas face threats from strong thunderstorms, dangerous winds, rough seas, frequent lightning, and the potential for waterspouts. Across the Gulf of Mexico, warm tropical moisture remains abundant, creating favorable conditions for scattered to numerous thunderstorms throughout the night. Strong storms developing along the northern Gulf Coast, from Texas to Florida, may move offshore, producing wind gusts exceeding 40 knots, dangerous lightning, reduced visibility and torrential rainfall, and locally rough seas. On Saturday, additional rounds of thunderstorms are expected to develop across the eastern and central Gulf waters. Mariners should anticipate rapidly changing weather conditions and isolated waterspouts near stronger thunderstorm cells. Along the southeast Atlantic coast, including waters offshore of Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas, periods of thunderstorms will continue tonight. Some storms may produce sudden wind shifts, dangerous cloud-to-water lightning strikes, and waves building to 4 to 7 feet in and near thunderstorms. During Saturday afternoon and evening, sea breeze boundaries interacting with tropical moisture may trigger additional strong storms capable of producing localized gale-force wind gusts and hazardous conditions for small craft. The mid-Atlantic and northeast coastal waters will experience increasingly unstable atmospheric conditions as warmer and more humid air spreads across the region. Tonight, scattered thunderstorms may develop over offshore waters from Virginia to New England. On Saturday, an approaching weather disturbance could trigger stronger thunderstorms capable of producing sudden squalls, brief periods of severe visibility reduction, and isolated waterspouts. Boaters should closely monitor marine weather warnings before departure. The Great Lakes region will remain one of the most active marine weather zones through Saturday. Thunderstorms moving across Lakes Michigan, Superior, Huron, Erie, and Ontario may produce dangerous lightning, wind gusts between 40 and 60 knots, steep waves, and rapidly changing lake conditions. Some storms could become severe, generating large hail and intense squall lines capable of creating extremely hazardous conditions for recreational boaters and commercial vessels. Across the Pacific Northwest coastal waters, generally quieter conditions are expected. However, strengthening high pressure inland will increase northwesterly winds over portions of the coastal waters of Washington and Oregon. Choppy seas and locally elevated wave heights may develop Saturday afternoon and evening, especially beyond the immediate shoreline. In California coastal waters, marine conditions remain relatively stable, although localized areas of dense fog may reduce visibility during the overnight and early morning hours. Northern and central California coastal waters may experience moderate to occasionally fresh northwest winds, producing rough conditions for smaller vessels. Mariners should remain alert for visibility reductions caused by fog banks moving onshore and offshore. In Alaskan waters, periods of rain, low clouds, and patchy fog will continue across portions of the Bering Sea and Gulf of Alaska. Visibility may occasionally fall below 1 nautical mile in heavier precipitation and fog. Gusty winds are also possible near stronger weather systems moving across western Alaska. Meanwhile, Hawaiian coastal waters will continue to experience moderate to locally strong trade winds. Choppy seas will persist across windward waters and channels between the islands. Passing showers may briefly reduce visibility, particularly during nighttime and early morning hours. The most significant marine weather threats through Saturday include severe thunderstorms across the Gulf of Mexico, southeast Atlantic waters, Great Lakes, and portions of the northeast coastal waters. These storms may generate dangerous lightning, sudden wind gusts exceeding 50 knots, rough and confused seas, torrential rainfall, and isolated waterspouts. All mariners are strongly advised to review the latest marine forecasts before departure, ensure all communication and navigation equipment is functioning properly, and have multiple methods available for receiving weather warnings. Small craft operators should be prepared to seek safe harbor immediately if thunderstorms approach. Commercial vessels should closely monitor radar and updated marine advisories, particularly across the Gulf Coast, Great Lakes, and Atlantic coastal waters, where conditions may deteriorate rapidly with little warning.
Here is the latest nationwide weather update and forecast for tonight and Saturday, June 13th, 2026. Regional weather forecast Northeast. A warm and increasingly humid air mass remains firmly in place across the Northeast as high pressure continues offshore. Tonight, scattered showers and thunderstorms may develop across northern New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Some storms could produce brief heavy downpours, frequent lightning, and gusty winds. On Saturday, temperatures will rise into the upper 80s and lower 90s across much of the region, with heat indices reaching the mid-90s in major metropolitan areas including Boston, New York City, and Philadelphia. Afternoon and evening thunderstorms may develop along an approaching frontal boundary, particularly across western and northern sections. A few storms could become locally severe. Regional weather forecast Southeast. The Southeast remains locked in a hot and tropical weather pattern. Tonight, scattered thunderstorms will continue across Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and the Carolinas. Some storms may produce heavy rainfall and localized flooding, especially in urban areas. On Saturday, temperatures will climb into the upper 80s and middle 90s, while heat indices may exceed 100 degrees Fahrenheit in many locations. Numerous afternoon and evening thunderstorms are expected, especially along the Gulf Coast and across the Florida Peninsula, where abundant moisture remains in place. Localized flash flooding and frequent lightning will be possible. Regional weather forecast Midwest. The Midwest continues to face active and potentially dangerous weather conditions. Tonight, clusters of thunderstorms will move across portions of Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Some storms may become severe with damaging wind gusts, large hail, and isolated tornadoes. On Saturday, another strong disturbance will interact with warm and unstable air, leading to widespread thunderstorm development. Severe weather is possible from eastern Iowa and Missouri into Illinois, Indiana, and southern Wisconsin. Damaging winds, large hail, torrential rainfall, and a few tornadoes remain the primary concerns. Regional weather forecast Great Lakes. The Great Lakes region remains under an elevated severe weather threat. Tonight, thunderstorms may continue across Wisconsin, Michigan, northern Illinois, and northern Indiana, producing heavy rainfall and strong wind gusts. On Saturday, organized thunderstorms are expected around Lakes Michigan, Huron, Erie, and Ontario. Strong straight-line winds will be the primary hazard, although hail and isolated tornadoes cannot be ruled out. Temperatures will rise into the 80s and lower 90s ahead of the storms, creating a favorable environment for severe weather development. Regional weather forecast Plains, Central Plains. The Central Plains remain one of the nation's most active severe weather zones. Tonight, strong to severe thunderstorms are expected from Nebraska and Kansas into South Dakota and parts of Oklahoma. Large hail, damaging winds exceeding 70 miles per hour, and several tornadoes remain possible. On Saturday, additional thunderstorms are expected to develop during the afternoon and evening. Storm clusters may organize into larger complexes capable of producing widespread damaging winds and localized flash flooding. Temperatures will reach the upper 80s and middle 90s ahead of storm development.
Regional weather forecast Southwest. The Southwest remains very hot, with generally quiet weather across lower desert locations. Tonight, mostly clear skies are expected across Arizona, southern Nevada, southeastern California, and western New Mexico. On Saturday, temperatures will once again soar between 100 and 112 degrees Fahrenheit across many desert valleys. Isolated afternoon thunderstorms may develop over the mountains of Arizona and New Mexico. Gusty outflow winds, lightning, and brief heavy rainfall will accompany the strongest storms. Regional weather forecast Rockies. The Rockies will continue to experience a mix of sunshine and scattered mountain thunderstorms. Tonight, isolated storms will gradually weaken across Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, and Utah. On Saturday afternoon, renewed thunderstorm development is expected, especially over central and southern Colorado. Some storms may produce small hail, gusty winds, and localized heavy rainfall. Temperatures will remain above seasonal averages across many mountain valleys and foothill communities. Regional weather forecast Northwest. The Northwest remains under the influence of a strong ridge of high pressure. Tonight, clear skies and mild overnight temperatures will prevail across Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. On Saturday, abundant sunshine and significantly warmer temperatures are expected. Highs will reach the upper 80s and middle 90s across many inland areas.
while portions of eastern Washington and eastern Oregon may approach or exceed 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Dry conditions and gusty winds will elevate wildfire concerns in some locations. Regional weather forecast West Coast. The West Coast will remain mostly dry and seasonably warm. Tonight, areas of marine clouds and coastal fog will persist along parts of the California coast. On Saturday, coastal communities will enjoy mild temperatures, while inland areas experience much warmer conditions. California's Central Valley is expected to see highs ranging from the upper 90s to near 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Interior sections of Northern California and Oregon will also experience above normal temperatures under mostly sunny skies. Regional weather forecast Alaska. Across Alaska, mixed weather conditions continue. Tonight, scattered showers will affect portions of western and central Alaska, while southern coastal communities remain relatively quiet. On Saturday, periods of rain will continue across parts of western and northern Alaska. Interior areas will remain cooler than average, while southeastern Alaska experiences milder temperatures with intervals of sunshine and scattered clouds. Regional weather forecast Hawaii. The Hawaiian Islands continue under a typical trade wind pattern. Tonight, passing showers will affect windward slopes in coastal communities, while leeward areas remain mostly dry. On Saturday, moderate trade winds will persist across the islands. Sunshine will dominate much of the morning before scattered clouds and brief showers develop over windward and mountainous areas during the afternoon. Temperatures will remain seasonable, generally ranging from the lower to middle 80s. That concludes our nationwide weather forecast for tonight and Saturday, June 13, 2026. Thank you for watching Hurricane and Storm Center. Stay weather aware, especially across the Central Plains, Midwest, and Great Lakes, where severe thunderstorms and dangerous weather conditions are expected. We'll see you again in our next weather update. Have a safe evening and a wonderful day ahead.